to make a simple and delicious chocolate cake. We do not use chocolate in this cake, but we use cocoa powder and a secret ingredient that I am going to share with you while we make it. So let's get started. The ingredients that you will need to make this chocolate cake are 200 grams of butter. If you're using unsalted butter, add in a bit of salt. Then 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 200 milliliters of water, 300 grams of sugar, 20 tablespoons, 250 grams of flour, 25 tablespoons, a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 eggs, and 150 grams of curd. So let's get started. First we're going to take the butter, the cocoa powder, and also the water, and we're going to add these ingredients into this pot right here. We're going to add it in. We're going to add in the cocoa powder next. And then lastly the water. Now we're going to turn on the flame. We have to whisk this continuously and we will bring this to a boil. So as you can see here, the butter has now completely melted and you can hear that it's boiling. So you can hear it's starting to boil. Boil it. Once it starts boiling, boil it until it's a smooth mixture. Only then can you turn off the flame. Don't turn off the flame if it's not yet a smooth mixture. Okay, so it's turned into a smooth mixture and now I'm going to off it. And I'm going to let this cool for 10 minutes and then we're going to move on with it. So while the mixture cools down, you can already preheat your oven to 200 degrees Celsius. And you can also take a baking pan that is 20 to 24 centimeters in diameter, and I've lined it here with parchment paper and also given a layer of butter so that the cake will easily come out. So now let's move on with preparing the batter. So first we're going to take sugar and add it into a big mixing bowl. We're also going to add in the flour. And lastly, the baking soda. Now we're going to mix it until it's combined. So now it's fully combined, those 3 ingredients. Now we're going to add in the eggs and the yogurt. Now we're going to whisk it until it's well mixed. Now we are slowly going to add in the chocolate mix. we're going to whisk it until it's nicely mixed. So the chocolate is now mixed in very well with the batter, and now we're going to go ahead and take our baking pan and add in the batter. Now we're going to add in the batter. Just for your information, the batter is a bit liquid like this, so be careful because it may spill easily. So now we're gonna add it into the baking pan. Tap it 3 times on the counter so that all the air bubbles go. Now we're going to put the cake in the oven and bake it for 30 minutes. You should bake the cake in the lower third of your oven. While the cake bakes, we will prepare a glaze for the cake. The ingredients that you will need for the glaze are 175 grams of powdered sugar, 11.5 tablespoons, 60 ml of milk, 4 tablespoons of cocoa powder, 100 grams of butter, and finally the secret ingredient. This secret ingredient helps to enhance the flavor of any chocolate dessert or anything. And the secret ingredient is coffee powder. So let's get started with making the glaze. So now we're going to take all these ingredients and put it into a pot. First we're going to add in the powdered sugar. Next we're going to add in the milk. Then the cocoa powder. And the butter. And finally our secret ingredient, the instant coffee powder. Now we're going to turn on the flame and we're going to continuously whisk it. Put it on low flame and then let the butter slowly melt and bring it to a boil. So the butter here has almost melted. So as you can see, it's almost boiling. So once it's boiling, you can turn off the flame. It's boiling, so now we're going to turn off the flame. So our cake is ready and it's been 30 minutes, so we're going to take out the cake. I've taken out the cake, so now I'm going to poke holes into the cake. Now we're going to pour half of our glaze onto the cake, which we have just poked holes in. You can poke holes either with a toothpick or a skewer. Why we poke the holes is, when we pour this glaze, it will soak into the holes and it will make the cake juicy and nice to eat. Now we have spread the glaze and it's soaked in. So now we're going to let the cake cool down completely, and then we're going to remove it from the foam and then pour the rest of the glaze. Our cake has cooled down, so now let's demold it from the cake form and decorate it with the glaze and some white chocolate. First, we're going to go around the cake mold with a knife and just loosen it up. Our cake looks lovely. Now I'm going to transfer the cake onto a plate. I've transferred the cake onto a plate, so now I'm going to put the rest of the glaze on the cake. If your glaze is hard, then you really need to heat the glaze a bit. Whereas in our climate, we don't need to heat it again because it does not get so hard. If your glaze is sort of like a hard consistency, you can also try spreading it on the sides. I'm trying not to do it a bit at the sides. Our climate is very humid and hot, so it's a bit difficult. So I've spread the glaze on the cake, and now I'm going to decorate it with some white chocolate that I've melted. You can also decorate it with sprinkles if you want, or anything else, but I'm going to use white chocolate. So take a fork and just sort of like go over the cake like this. So I've decorated the cake with the white chocolate. It looks really nice. So now I'm going to let it cool down and then I'm going to taste it. Our cake has cooled down and now I'm ready to taste it. I'm so excited to taste it. It's going to be absolutely delicious. So this is how our cake looks. It looks absolutely stunning. It looks so good and I really want to indulge into it. So let's taste it. It's so good. The chocolate on top and the white chocolate and then the cake. The cake is really juicy and nice. Like, it's absolutely amazing, the cake, and I really hope that you do try this recipe.